Buenas. My name is Diego, and this is the You Live Where show. A lot of people are interested in my lifestyle or really want to know the authentic life behind being an expat, the pros, the cons, the challenges. Um, so here I am. I'm going to have conversations with some expats, some people who own homes overseas, or just people who have been on the road a really long time, so that I could give you guys some idea into the lives that we live. This week, I'm talking to Ken. He lives in Peru. He's a writer. He's putting a book together. He's got some very informative stuff to tell us. So enjoy.
Hey, Ken, it's such a pleasure to have you on my show. Thank you so much for talking with us today.
Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, man. So you're in Lima, Peru.
I'm in the Miraflores district of Lima, Peru. I love it here. Yes.
All right. So we're going to go back a few years. Let's start at the beginning. When did you
Okay.
start getting the travel bug? When did you start getting the idea that you could live outside of your home country?
Okay. Well, those are two different questions. I had the travel bug, I would say, all my life because I grew up not traveling.
Okay.
So I was a mobilized reservist, which means I'd be on active duty with the Army and I'd go on these tours. But my civilian job was American Airlines. I didn't get that until I was 29 years old, but I had these excellent flight benefits and I would fly every chance I got. It was normally linked to scuba diving, but then I'm getting away from that now. I like some of the hiking and just enjoying it. Now, as far as living in another country, I got that idea really when I started to travel and meet some of the digital nomads, people who were able to work and away from their home. And even if they didn't make the same amount of money, the stress was just reduced. I think a lot of this came to realization during COVID when people realized they could get just as much work done, sometimes more, without the commute. And so I was always fascinated. And when I did retire from the Army and I had a pension, I decided that, why live in the United States where it's more expensive and things to me are very hectic in the United States right now. I feel like there's more violence, more people are just louder. It just seems that way to me now. Of
Okay.
course, that's very one-sided, but yeah, I felt it. So probably just the past few years, I was like, hey, I want to live outside the United States. If I'm going to work, I want to work remotely or work outside the United States. So
Okay.
yeah.
All right. So wow. So you grew up not traveling and then you got this job and you just started to go everywhere?
Yeah, well, I mean, not traveling. I grew up, I was mostly raised by my grandparents, and, traveling would be like, we lived in, I know you familiar with New Jersey. I was right outside Philadelphia, lived in New Jersey a few years. We would go to uh, Wildwood, New Jersey, or go to Atlantic City. I
Yeah,
mean, if you
right,
want to
right,
call that
right.
traveling, or go to Maryland, see my uncle's farm for a day, and then return the same day. That's not really traveling. My grandfather, he grew up most of his life into his 70s, having never left, right outside the immediate area of Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Never went to New Jersey. Maybe went to Atlantic City once in a while, but not really. I mean, people just didn't. They weren't big travelers in my family.
All right. And then you worked for American Airlines, you said, or you worked for an airline company?
Yeah, American Airlines is the one. I got that job and it didn't pay so well, but I would be mobilized with the Army Reserves every chance I got, especially after 9/11, all this money opened up. Now they're closing it, but I would go do Army stuff, make good money as an officer in the Army, and still have the flight benefits. And now that I've retired, I still have those flight benefits. I could be collecting my pension. I'm 56, but I'm going to wait till I'm 60 on American Airlines to max out. Won't be
Okay.
much of a pension, but it's something.
All right. And you said the catalyst behind that was for scuba. That was your main driver. You've been all
Well,
over the
I'm
world.
I'm I'm a big scuba diver. Scuba diving is expensive in the beginning. You buy the gear, but if you can get to the place you're going to, it's really not that expensive.
Okay. And that brought you everywhere. You've been all over the world doing scuba?
I've been all over the world doing scuba. I could sit here and probably name at least 30 countries, everywhere from England, Scotland, Great Barrier Reef in Australia, Belize, never in Peru, but all over the Caribbean, Nassau, Bahamas, multiple dives. I was just down in Honduras. Honduras is not the safest place, but I went to I forget the name of the place now. It was just an island off there, and
Rotan?
that's right. Bro, that's it. Went there for my birthday. That's very safe
Yeah,
there because I
yeah.
want to keep it safe. And just love to scuba dive. Have about 550 dives, and I never worked in the business. Where if you work in the business, you get it for free, because you're working. But
Uh-uh.
that's a lot for somebody who didn't grow up and haven't lived right by the ocean.
Right.
I mean, this is the first time I've lived by the ocean. I was in Guantanamo Bay, Cuba for a year and a half, and I got a lot of diving in there. But
Um, so wow, man, you've been all over the world. That means you've seen a lot of culture, you tried a lot of food, you've been around.
I've been around, haven't been to Africa yet. That's still on my bucket list.
Okay.
I'm a little afraid of a lot of places in Africa, but I still want to hike up what's that, Mount Kilimanjaro,
Okay, okay.
and go some other places.
All right. So how did you decide upon Peru then? Like if you've been everywhere, how did Peru grab you?
Returned from Iraq in 2004 with the Army, went on a scuba diving vacation in Bahamas, uh, met a woman out there from Peru. And I remember talking to her, and I was like, "Well, I know Peru's in South America, but where in South America?" And like I didn't know. And then that was in June of 2004. In October, I sent her some emails in September. She hadn't checked them, and I went out in October, met up with her there, stayed for 2 weeks here, and she showed me around. We didn't start seriously dating till right before I went to Afghanistan. I went to Bahamas, and she was a school teacher out there at that point. She taught chemistry in Peru. She taught English, and I'm no, excuse me, Spanish in the Bahamas. And so I broke up with her in 2013 and a half, uh, in June or July timeframe. But I stayed friends with her friend, who was Sicilian. She and I became best friends, and it was never anything romantic. But she was also a teacher in the Bahamas. And in 2019, she found out that she had cancer in the breast, not just any, I mean, stage 4 when it was discovered. She was going back to Peru, so I went to see her in 2021 after I finished a tour working at the Iraq embassy, Baghdad, Iraq, and stayed for 3 weeks this time. And during that time, went and saw Machu Picchu, and then liked it so much I returned the following year and did the Inca Trail in Machu Picchu and
Okay.
stayed 63 days this time, and then returned again the following year. So I spent many Christmases here because it was always in December when I was coming after the first time, except for this time. So three times, three Christmases here at least, and then as I said, I did the Inca Trail and I started studying Spanish at the school. And when I returned in 2023 in July, I was waiting on another contracting job. And I was here 3 months and studying Spanish the whole time, 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, and lived right next door to the school in an Airbnb. And when they contacted me, it was to go to Australia, which is great, but Ayers Rock in the desert, and it was be 12-hour shifts. And I mean, I was in my 50s and people my age were having heart attacks. So I just decided to, basically retire to something, to retire to studying Spanish, to begin my first novel. A teacher at the school encouraged me to novel. I told him I wanted to get a PhD, and he said, "Well, but your book isn't about your PhD, so why are you waiting?" So I started writing it then, and it involves both Dallas, Texas, and Huancayo, Peru. So there's a lot in Peru in it. I went and researched Huancayo to check it out, and then my mother got sick in June of 2024. I returned in July. She did die, and then my uncle died, her brother, 2 months later. So I was there for 9 months, and I decided, I had so much hassle getting a student visa. It is really hard if you don't have help here. And they have a retirement visa, and I have a steady income from the Army, and it's over $1,000, which is the requirement. So I paid somebody here, a friend, and he that I met through the expatriate website, and he had me do most of the work before I came here, and it was very easy. Now I can stay here the rest of my life if I want. I have to be here 182 days out of the year.
Okay.
other than that, I could travel. So yeah, and why Peru? Because it was just I mean, it's and I write the person in my novel was kind of like this too. That's what interesting. You just I tripped into these things. It's just kind of like Peru turned out to be an excellent place to study Spanish. They don't have much of an accent. And it
Okay.
just, I guess I'm a Christian. I would say most of my life it's God doing it, but there were many things that I just kind of tripped into and wasn't even looking for it, and they turned out to be good. I mean,
Okay.
I thought I was very depressed when I retired from the Army, and it turned out to be the best thing for me. My stress has just really gone down, and I'm finally able to just do the things I want to do. Peru has very low crime in this area that I'm in, and I mean, the biggest danger would be pickpocketing. You don't hear about people getting stabbed or shot, but you do hear about people getting pickpocketed or iPhone stolen and things like that, but nothing violent. So that's why Peru, and of course Machu Picchu, and has other things I like. The food, the people are pretty nice. The thing I like about it though is also my frustration. You can be in the grocery store and if they know each other when they're checking out through the line, they might stop and have a conversation, which in the beginning that drove me absolutely crazy until I realized, hey, I'm retired. I don't have to
Oh.
rush. But it's not like that in the United States. I'm not used, especially Army. It's like get it done, get out.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. That's how it's done. I'm sure that was was that a shock for you, the timing?
That was a huge shock. Also, this whole thing, let's talk about being on time. I know you showed up early for the meeting, so did I. That's very normal for military, but here, and I'm betting Nicaragua's the same way.
Oh,
It
we
seems
got
like
Nika.
the
It's
Latina.
called Nika time.
Okay, they have that Peruvian time, Peruana time, and you have to tell people here Real, Tiempo Real, or like you tell somebody you show up like and we'll meet at 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and they show up at 1:30 or 1:40, and they wonder why you're irritated, and I'm going to be there 10 minutes ahead of time so
Yeah.
that they won't wait on me,
I'm
and
pretty
and
sure that's a Latin American thing, man. We all got that slow down time.
it doesn't matter if you're going to go meet for drinks or something. You just start drinking ahead of them or whatever. But if I'm sure in the job, I mean, it's more strict. It's more strict. Uh,
So so let's go back a little
okay.
bit. So you've
All
done
right.
some traveling. You picked Peru. So you did some reconnaissance. You've been there a few times before you went, but now you're all in.
I'm all in here. I know what happened in Venezuela, and I think it was mostly with the businesses, but it's my understanding that Chavez went in and said, okay, you Americans, you have, meaning United States citizens, you have like 48 hours to get out. And,
Why would that apply to Peru?
well, I wouldn't
Are
want
you
to.
saying it's a fear that if it were to happen type deal?
Yes, I am saying that. I am saying that there's less stability here than in the United States, although it might be very
History?
safe. It might be very safe right now. Well, I mean, you could also say, look what happened in the United States, 9/11. I don't want to go to New York. I mean, it's just the
Yeah,
area I grew up in outside Philadelphia is actually a very dangerous area there, but I'm not nervous to go there because I know people.
there you
So
go.
it all has to do with a level of comfort. I have asked several people, I mean, could that happen here in Peru? And they said, yeah, sure, it could happen. I don't think it's going to happen. Probably won't happen. And the reason it's significant for me is because I'm sure Airbnb would work out something with me if I was told to leave the country. But I'm either going to rent an apartment or which is what I will probably do next. But eventually I want to buy an apartment here. And my
Okay.
thought process is, hey, I want to pick up traveling again and I can Airbnb my place and make money off it.
Okay.
So, I mean, there's less. I understand, like, there's things I've seen people when I was in immigrations before, when I got my student visa, like, oh, I had my meeting on a different day, but I gave the guy 100 soles, which is some like 30 some dollars, and he let it slide. So
Okay.
I know there's some graft here.
Okay. Okay, but you're still considering of purchasing an apartment? You're still going to make that a full-time thing for yourself there?
It will be full time. The question is, will I purchase or will I rent? Some people are leaning, and one person who owns an apartment here would encourage me to rent instead of purchase, but just simply because I have a good financial investor for the stock market and I can use that money to invest rather than purchase.
Okay.
I just kind of like the idea of, I own something and I can do within limitations what I want with it. If I want to
Okay.
paint the walls, if I want to, if I want to have somebody over who smokes, if I want to have a dog, it's mine.
Okay. So you said
Yeah.
you do have residency in Peru.
It's not permanent residency. I can apply for in 3 years, and then I don't have to be here one day out of the year.
Okay.
So I could live in Japan and just fly here at Christmas and then fly back, it's a type of residency. Yeah, I mean, we're getting into semantics, but with what I have now, and I think the answer to your question is yes, I can stay here the rest of my life. Technically, I am supposed to be here 182 days out of the year. I'm told they're really not very strict on that, but I don't want to test them.
Was that a pain in the ass to get your residency, or was it a pretty straight through process?
To get my uh, student visa was a real pain in the neck. It was absolutely obnoxious. But when I went, I was like, okay, I learned my lesson. And I was working on getting this retirement visa here before my mother got sick. And there's an attorney here who said I could do it outside the country or in the country, but he only spoke Spanish, and my Spanish is still not fluent. But then I started dealing with a friend I have here, and after I was back in the United States, and he said, "Hey, I can help you." He was more expensive, but he spoke my language, and he's from the United States, and that this process wasn't difficult at all with him.
Okay.
I was staying with my cousin in Melbourne, Florida. I had to drive down once to Miami and just uh, pick, pick up some paperwork and drive back. And when I came here, there was minimal stuff. It wasn't difficult at all. It's been a very easy process.
Great. That's
But
good.
I,
It's
I
good to
pay
know.
somebody. I would encourage anybody that wanted to come here and they're from the United States to not try to cut corner, not try to save money and do it yourself because it's such a nuisance.
Okay. All right. So hire an attorney, get a professional to help you through the process.
Yeah, yeah. The one I use wasn't an attorney, but somebody who knows the
Okay.
process.
Okay.
Yeah,
All
because
right.
yeah. Go ahead.
So you did a bunch of reconnaissance before you moved there. Is there anything different?
Unintentionally, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Is there anything different between you living there and being a tourist there? Is there anything, or what you thought would be different? Is there anything different living there?
It's far more. Now, I've only been here this time since April, but I was here a little over a year, 2003 to 4. But and this time is actually the time that I'm here, like, hey, I'm going to live here. I'm enjoying it far more. Like, I'm in here for the long haul. I am going to go with my phone and get a plan here. I joined a gym, uh, uh, SmartFit, and I'm on a plan for a year, and they penalize you if you don't stay a year. But I have every intention of being here at least 5 years because
Okay.
this is a great place to learn Spanish, and I want to be here a full 5 years and become fluent.
Okay. So is Spanish a big part behind why you went, learning the language?
It is. I mean, number one was, writing my book, and it's less. I mean, I'm living in an Airbnb, which is more expensive than renting an apartment. And I did that on purpose for an entire year. That's not normal for an Airbnb, but I did it because I don't want to deal with anything. When I'm out of the gas for my stove, I want somebody else to come do it. They give me one cleaning a month for free. Electricity, water is included, internet is included. There's furniture here. I don't have to deal with any of that. So I mean, I was here for a year, but I only thought I was going to be here 3 months, and then it kind of stretched out, and I was undecided what I was going to do. But I'd say it's more fulfilling when you're not a tourist here, because you know what the touristy traps are, and
Okay.
and the people accept you more. I'm in a writers group where we speak almost exclusively in English, and made friends with expats here, and that we kind of look out for each other.
Okay. So how's your social life? How's it meeting people? Do you get out a lot? Do you have groups like you were saying?
I'm dating a girl from here. I have a girlfriend.
Okay.
We were friends last year, and then she was getting divorced, and so now she's free, and she's my girlfriend now. Getting out a lot. Well, it's my situation's a little unique. I'm not working at a traditional job, nor am I working online, but I'm working on writing my novel. So that is what my day is centered around. I get up at 7:30 in the morning, and I'll get some caffeine in me. Honestly, I'll normally drink a Monster because that's like instant, and I'll drink some coffee too, and it helps me concentrate. And I read the same genre that I'm writing, and that actually helps me get into the mood for it. And so the social life is mostly people from the writers group, and then a church I belong to here. As I said, my Spanish isn't good enough, so I go to an English speaking church,
Okay.
uh, and and I'll normally take a taxi there and then walk home, so I don't mess up what I wear.
Have you had any troubles with the language? It seems that you've been able to find everything that's pretty much English.
I've had I took Spanish for 4 years in high school. That was in the United States, and I'm just like two classes shy of a minor in it in the university. I was in ROTC in university, so that was my minor. But I took it for 2.5 years in university, and I studied it 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, for a year here. And I lived next door to the school. They helped me a lot, and I had private lessons. So I can get by on most things. Issues I have turn out to be funny things. Like at one of the writers' meeting, I was sitting next, and I'm probably going to butcher the language, but I was sitting next to a woman, and I used to do some hunting, and I was just trying to be conversational, and I said, "Has casado?" And she thought I said, you understood what I said, has casado. She thought I was saying, have you
Are
ever
you
been
married?
married?
Yeah, are you
Yeah,
married? Casado.
and she
Yeah.
said, and she was finally
That
she
is
said
funny.
in English, she said, "Sir, I don't understand why that's pertinent if you want to know if I've ever been married." And I said, "No, have you ever hunted? Hunted." I mean, it's just
That's a funny story. You're right, Casado. That's right on there. Yeah, yeah. So, all right. Do you go out to eat? Do you have any hidden gems for me in your area? Good restaurant that you could recommend?
the best restaurant here that I can think of, and it's more for the location than for the food. Although the food is very good. I mean, is the Nautical Rose, Rosa Nautica,
Okay.
and it is located out on the water. And what I mean by that is you walk out, it's like a pier, but it's a bunch of rocks, and they've built the restaurant there. And so when
Wow.
you look out, the scenery is all the waves coming in.
That's pretty
And I went there last year
nice.
with the same woman I'm dating and took her to that. And it's a really nice place. And then there's also one, and we're going to this one this year, and I it's a rooftop in Sumno. And I don't know if that means anything in Spanish or not, but it's overlooking. You can see the sunset. So for
Oh, wow.
seafood, I would say Rose and Nautical Rose, probably in Sumno, even though I haven't gone to it for there. But they have some excellent foods here, excellent restaurants here.
Okay.
One thing I can't find here that I do miss is a Philadelphia cheesesteak.
Oh my God.
They might say
Patagino's.
it's a Philadelphia cheesesteak, but it's really not. I've been in places where like they took cheese, like they chopped pieces of cheese and stuck it on the.
I know, man. I Pat Geno's. I've been there. I got a best friend of mine lives in Philly for many years. I hear you, man. The Philadelphia cheesesteak coming from that. You know what it is? My wife as well. We're from New Jersey. My wife, man, will never find a piece of pizza that's good enough, dude. There's nowhere in the there's nowhere in the world outside of New Jersey pizza for her. You know what I mean? That's good enough. So
Oh, so New Jersey's better than New York for you
for
for
pizza,
pizza?
I mean, bro, you're starting a Subway series right there. For me, yeah, I'm from New Jersey, but that's a good fight. The New Jersey or New York pizza, which is better? That's a good fight. Yeah, yeah.
I would
But I'll
say
tell
they're
you what,
better
Philly
than.
Philly cheesesteak is a Philly cheesesteak, man. That's a you guys thing, Philly thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. Is there talking about that, is there anything you miss from the States, man? What would you miss most?
Well, I mean, for food, it's Philadelphia cheesesteak, but for what I miss most from the States, I would say, I have a very small family. I would say uh, some of the freedom I had because I had a car there. I had a Ford Mustang, and I don't know if you're familiar with the movie Bullet with
Yeah,
Steve
yeah, yeah,
McQueen,
of course.
and that's why I wanted one all my life, and I finally got it in 2011 and a half. I got it 2012. The odd thing is when I sold it, it had 72,000 miles on it, and I put 7,000 of those on it in the 8 weeks before I left. I was driving to my cousins from Texas to Florida and back and all over. And I miss the autonomy to have my own vehicle. But that being said, if you do your research, this is Lima at least is the second worst place for traffic in the world. The
Really?
first is the first is India.
Oh.
And
And
and I
Lima's
don't
number two, huh?
Well, they don't enforce any kind of. I see people without headlights. I see people with one headlight. I see people not obeying traffic regulations. I've never heard of them getting a ticket or being pulled over. So I don't. I imagine if the police want to give them a hard time, they can. But I don't want to drive in this country. I don't feel safe.
Okay. Yeah, there you go. That's a tip. So let me ask you, what's your typical day look like, man? How do you keep yourself busy I mean, you said you're retired. You've mentioned the book. What's your typical day look like?
I'll get up 7:30 in the morning, kind of roll around. Typically, I will drink a Monster or some and get that caffeine in me. Get up, move around a little bit. Right now, I have some plantar fasciitis, if you know what that is. It's
I
pretty bad
do.
with the feet. And I've done some stretches on it, and I'm working on it really well. Unlike what some people tell you, you need mobility with that. And so I've also put on a walking app on my iPhone and I want to get in, at least 7,000 steps a day. That's going to move up to 10,000.
Okay.
And I'll watch some of the series like on drama or something. I've been watching Bosch recently, the series, and read a little bit, and then I start working on my book. But working on my book is not necessarily like I'm doing editing now, but it's also stuff like this, getting on, practicing on show. I'm trying to get on podcasts. I joined a thing called Podmatch
Okay.
for hosts that want to talk about novels, and some of them they want to read the novel, and I'm like, well, I'm still editing it, so I have to wait on that. But I'll get on. I have a YouTube channel, and I get on there, and I will read chapters from my book on that, and I also use OBS, Audacity, and try to make it have music in the background. Also read the Bible on that. I've read chapters from the Bible. Uh, and I'll read poetry, Edgar Allan Poe. I've been told I have a good voice for reading and a good voice, especially it's ironically for horror, but I don't like horror. So, I'll do a lot of reading. But there's incidentally this Saturday, 14th of June, there's a book sale at the Episcopalian Church, and get a lot of English speaking books. I'm a heavy reader. I do a lot of research. I'm a heavy user of ChatGPT. I pay for I guess it's $22 a month thing, and just a lot of research for my novel. I want things to be accurate. And when I write the novel and just trying to better myself, I joined that gym. I'm trying to trim down. I need to lose some weight. And
So do you feel that your lifestyle has improved since you've been in Peru?
I feel it's improved because, well, of course, my mother was sick. People, I think, tend to, well, some people say they gain weight, some people lose weight under stress. It looks like I gain it. But immediately when I went back to the United States, I put on pounds, and I think it has to do with the processed food.
Okay.
It might taste good, it might taste better, but, like I've noticed, have you noticed the size of the food in the United States is bigger? Like chickens and other things like that. I think
Uh,
it has to do with injection of hormones. I think that. I mean, why is
I
our food so big?
okay.
And I don't think it's because it's better for you.
I'll tell you what, the Peruvian cuisine is known worldwide as some of the best food in the world.
Ceviche. Yeah.
I mean, your
Yeah.
ceviche, of course, I was just talking about this to another guest. It's incredible, the ceviche, but just everything in general. The Peruvians have a really good palate, except for the cuy. I'm not. I've been to Peru and I've done the Machu Picchu and I've eaten the cuy and but other than that, yeah, you
The
guys
little
have,
thing, the little rodent thing, and that
yeah, yeah, the guinea pig. I've eaten that. Yeah, you got to try it
I
though if
have
you go
eaten
to Peru.
I've eaten that, but I didn't think I mean, it didn't have a unique taste to me, so I
To me, it
would.
was stretchy. I didn't like
Okay,
the stringy meat.
yeah, yeah,
But
I've done
I do
that.
know Peru is definitely, like I said, world renowned for its food. So I'm sure you're eating a lot better, right? Like your food's more fresh, you would say.
I would say it's a lot fresh. I mean, I'm here. Miraflores district is on. It's similar to. It's on the same fault line as California, so they get earthquakes
Oh
here.
shit. Okay.
And I've been through like at least three of them. I think four, and I've never realized it was happening because I was on the second floor or I was walking. Now I'm on the eighth floor. I'm told I will feel the next one, so that'll be an experience. I mean, I've been in them when I was in Kuwait working as a contractor, and I was like on the fourth floor and I slept through it. So I don't know. I'm just oblivious to these things. That's probably a good thing. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's cool though. That's a superpower to have when shit's going down around you. You're calm, right? I don't know. I don't feel
yeah, yeah.
it. So, okay. So, how do you the book thing? It's as an expat, you said that you feel more fulfilled because you're doing what you want to do, right?
I'm doing
Like,
what I want to do. I'm putting $1,000 into getting a really good editor, getting paid beta readers because you get alpha readers who read, volunteer to read, but if you pay them, then they're obligated to read. You get beta readers, and they can either be paid or unpaid. And the paid ones tend to do a better job because you rate them on it. And I get them on Fiverr. I've have some book covers and other pictures for the book. Ironically, the ones that people like the most are actually AI generated and just done on ChatGPT. And yeah, so I get fulfillment from it. I would like to generate some income from it, but I'm not. The main thing, I would rather have no money and have somebody tell me that was a great book. And I
okay.
decided I'm going to do a series of three. I'm originally just going to write one book, but people are encouraging a second and third book, and I've my research has told me, and people have told me that three books is the key if you want to have a successful series, not just two, but three. And I think it's going to be easier the second time than the first because I've learned a lot of tricks. I know who people I want to deal with, and it's actually, believe it or not, it's therapy for me writing the book because they're all based on people. It's fiction, but it's everybody in that book who has a speaking role, not just, a person was walking across the street, but if somebody speaks, that person is somebody who I personally know. And the bad guy in the book is based on somebody who was a good friend of mine, who I was the best man at his wedding. And he's not a pathological liar because he doesn't have to lie. And their pathological liars are compelled to lie, but he uses lie, uses deceit, uses deception, and he's just
So he's a
incredibly good
habitual
at it.
liar.
He's habitual. He's a gaslighter. You must have me confused with somebody else. He's famous for that, or I never said that, or no, that wasn't true. And blame shifting, all the things that if you look at things to stay away from people, he had it. But he was. I'm 6'2". He's probably 6'3". I'm 56. He's like a year and a half older than me, but he was, a really good looking guy. We went to university together, same dormitory, University of Texas in Arlington. And we were at Brazos dormitory, and he was just really popular with the women. He had his own business to begin with, which is right along the line for a habitual liar. He was a school teacher for like 10 years. And then he like just kind of didn't do anything for a few years. And then now he's in real estate up in Oregon, and he's doing very well. But I had to break him off and just stop talking to him because he's so manipulative. It's like an alcoholic avoiding alcohol. I mean, he's going to suck you back in. He's
So
good.
in this in your environment, do you believe it helps you with the book? Do you look out the window? Do you walk around your town? It's because you're in a
It
different
is excellent
you're
for
in
my
Peru.
book. I use teachers from the school. And I went, most of the action takes place in a place called Huancayo, Peru, which is a place I went to do the research. and I was the only gringo there, and I was there 4 days. They do not speak English there. You want to talk to somebody in English, you go to maybe a very well educated person or the tourism places. They speak English and they speak some French too.
Okay.
But most they'll speak English, but not that good. Their English isn't that good, and they people were staring at me because I'm taller than most of them, bigger than most of them. They're not used to people talking in English, and so this area is just great because although I haven't been working a whole lot on my Spanish recently, it motivates me. Just the environment to kind of feel the slower pace of life. There is the issue of people honking their horns, and that's bad here, the noise pollution, but I'm on the eighth floor and I'm away from most of it.
Okay. How have you connected to Peru? How has it, like your connection, your love to it?
My love is, well, the thing that initially annoyed me and doesn't so much now is the slower pace of life, the thing where the thing I think it was actually President Clinton that actually had said we want to get back to family values. United States, here when I told some people about, my relative going into an old age home or retirement home, they thought that was just terrible. They said, "Don't you take care of your elderly? You're just gonna like, okay, you've reached your expiration date. We're gonna put you there until you die." Now, in the case of my stepfather, he got incredibly annoying. When he has dementia, but he would get physically like he was still stronger than my mother, and we couldn't control him. So sometimes those things have to be done. But I think we could learn a lot about, I think it's very good the close connection they have with the families. Now, in some instances, like the families control too much, but for the most part, I think it's a good thing.
Okay.
My connection is that the family values that you want to take care of each other, that's important.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And you said your girlfriend's Peruvian, right?
She is Peruvian, yes.
Have you met the family? Have you gotten in with her friends and gone out and hung out and all that?
I have not. She's very reserved. She's not quite ready for that.
Okay.
And but they know about me, and that's like we were friends all last year, and they didn't know about me. Recently, now they know about me and they know my name. The
Okay.
next step will be to meet, but uh, yeah. So
Okay.
that's probably a good thing that she's reserved.
Okay. That helps. Um, so if you can go back before you started your Peruvian adventure and you could teach yourself one lesson, what would that be? You could
Okay,
talk to yourself.
A Peruvian venture like when I first came here in 2004,
Yeah, when you
something
first
like that.
started thinking about moving to Peru,
Oh,
what
okay,
can
that was later. That
All
was
right,
later. That
sorry,
was
sorry.
from.
So
That's
sorry, my
okay.
bad. When you go back to the time when you first started thinking about moving to Peru, what would you teach yourself between now and then?
Okay. For any visa type stuff, pay somebody to help you. It's worth it.
Okay.
Okay. The second thing is understand the culture that what you some people will not look at the truth and a lie in the same way. They don't want to hurt your feelings, so you may not get a factual answer out of them because they don't want to hurt your feelings.
Okay.
Uh, if you're going to purchase something and you have a Peruvian friend, have them go with you or purchase it for you because they're going to get a better rate. My girlfriend will have me wait. She says, "Here, give me some cash." And she said it would have been three times that if you went in there because they see dollar signs when they see gringo.
Okay.
And I, I guess just to be patient with them because they're not like, the United States where, you know, okay, great, you want to study Spanish, work at your full-time job and then take Spanish in the evening. That works. And
Okay.
and we know and I saw Japanese students at the school who would take classes 8 hours a day and they wouldn't listen because that wasn't them doing it. That was the automobile company sent them here and they demanded them to do that. But the teachers at the school would say that's not the best way to learn Spanish. study no more than 4 hours a day, and be patient and go out and meet people, have some fun.
Okay.
So don't overwork yourself trying to learn the language. Just let it happen.
All right. What did your family think about when you told people you were moving here full time? What did everybody?
Well, my family at this point, like I said, it's pretty small. So it's like two cousins. And the one cousin was concerned. He'd rather me be in the United States for the safety. Uh, I think as far as the government, he's probably correct. I feel safer in the United States. As far as the people, I feel safer here, the general population. My other cousin, she was all for it. She said, you're chasing your dreams finally. You're in a situation where I guess I would define I define freedom. If somebody had me define freedom, I was working as a contractor in Kuwait, and I said the ability to say no. So it was my ability to say no to the other contracting job. No, I don't want to do that. I'm going to do what I want. Or somebody saying, my book it would sell more copies if there was some sex scene in it. And I said, no, this is my book. It's a work of art. I don't want that. It has no place in my book.
Good.
So the ability to say no instead of, well, is there any way we could do this some other way, to just say no. So yeah.
Okay. What has been the hardest thing for you being there?
The hardest thing for me being here, we talked about earlier, because I have a lot of freedom here, but the freedom to have the car, I can't drive, I'm not going to drive here, but to just drive and instantly go wherever I want.
Okay.
And the being patient thing, where I can't just get things immediately. Some things are more expensive here. Electronics are more expensive here. Some clothing is more expensive here. So people, if they're going to the United States, will have somebody buy a computer for them and bring it back because it's less expensive here. It's the comfort. If you have enough money in the United States, you can get to the things you want, and it you can't necessarily do that here. There's my friend from England. He runs an Airbnb in his apartment because he has several rooms, and he took somebody to get a phone chip, and the process to get her on a plan, he said, took an hour, and it shouldn't have taken that long. Or
Okay.
he helped me get a bank account here, and it was a 2 hour process. Should have been very simple. I have a residency card, I have money, I have identification, I have mail from here. Should have been very easy.
And
Shouldn't
it
have
was still
taken more
difficult.
than 20 minutes, I don't think, if that.
Okay. Um, if there's a guy who's thinking of doing what you're doing, there's a guy like, hey Ken, you know what, man? I've seen your show, I've seen you around. I'd like to move to Peru. What kind of advice would you give him? What would be the first thing you tell him?
Okay. I would tell them, make sure that you have for retirement an income that you can prove of 1,000 US dollars a month or more. In my case, my pension is more than that, so it's easy. Or if and I would tell him to research where you're going to live. I would say what I did is the smartest. If you don't have family you're coming here to stay with, or a friend that says, yeah, I'll put you up for 6 months, I would say get an Airbnb for the minimum of 6 months. I did it for a year so I can just concentrate on my book. I would tell people to do their research. I picked Miraflores because the best language school I've found is here. I can walk it to everything I need to walk to.
Okay.
They have tourist police just for Miraflores. So I feel extremely safe. I would tell somebody to do your research. Also, I would say reach out to me. And I know somebody who, because this person asked me to say, well, because I said, do you have like a website? And he said, no, just tell them to reach out to you and you'll put them in touch with me. Someone who, they do charge, but, it's well worth it to make the process easier, because it's going to be a nightmare. You try to do it by yourself. And I was decent at Spanish. I mean, and it was still hard for me. And I kept saying otra vez, otra vez, lo siento otra vez, because they talk like they're talking to a Peruvian, and it was just a nuisance.
Okay. Um, Healthcare. How's the healthcare in
Mm.
Peru? How are you handling that?
Interesting you should say that. I had healthcare for a month, traveler's why and I have not renewed it. It is on my to-do list. The cost of medical care is not very high here, Some people would recommend not getting it, but they have public health care here and they have private health care here. Uh, Public is going to be something like $25 a month. Private's going to be more like $200 or 250. And it sounds like a lot, but really when you look at what the prices are compared to the United States as far as living, you're still coming out ahead. And in private healthcare, you're going to get somebody in there who speaks English. And that's important to me. I'm going to revert back to my native language in the case of an emergency. I don't want to deal with somebody possibly misunderstanding, like has happened, something I said, or
Sure.
me not understanding what they're saying to me. So they are linked to, in often cases, they're linked to a hospital, and you have to go to that specific hospital. And I haven't looked at it enough to see if you can go to other places in the case of an emergency, but I'm more likely to get one that just covers me throughout the country. There's one Pacifico that I'm looking into that I'm probably going to get. But I don't have health care right now, but I am going to get it if need be. I'm covered through the military if I had to fly back to the United States if I found out I had something that just wasn't going to go away.
Okay. And you're receiving your military benefits there in Peru. Is there any issue with that? Has it been easy? Is that a good country for other, we'll say, other veterans considering moving to? Is getting their pension there or getting their benefits there? Is that easy for that to happen in Peru?
Okay, for veterans from the United States. So the way I'm doing this, I kept my bank account in the United States. My money is with a financial advisor in the United States. I set up a virtual mailbox in the United States, which is like a PO box on steroids. I pay them monthly $25 a month. They will scan my mail if I tell them to. If I decide I don't want it, I have them recycle it or shred it. They can, if I get a check for a fee, I think it's $10, they will send it for me or deliver it to a bank, do a deposit. They can mail stuff down here, but it gets a little pricey. Like if I get like I renew my driver's license for the United States. Also, I use it as a residence. Like that's what's showing on my insurance. I have international car insurance, which covers me everywhere but the United States.
Oh, okay.
And if I go to the United States, I'll use my credit card and put it on that credit card to get the extra insurance. So I don't have my pension coming to a bank here.
Okay.
I would not recommend that because, but
Okay.
from what everybody is telling me, the banks in the United States are far more stable. So I have a bank account here. I haven't put money in it yet. I'm going to put money in it. I have a debit card from here. I'm going to get credit cards from here because I use credit cards from the United States because I get miles on it from American Airlines. Because even though I have those benefits, they're standby. I like to use miles if I can, but they charge a small fee in a lot of places for using a credit card that's not from here. I intend to get one from here and get miles on their airline, LATAM airline here,
Okay.
or other type benefits here. So I would recommend the person keep their banks in the United States and open up an account here and keep a nominal amount in that. And as far as the health care, if you have disability through the Veterans Administration like I do, the health care is free in the United States. You are supposedly covered for things here too. I wouldn't recommend them dealing with that from what I've read because you have to prove it and everything like that. So I'm just going to get the health care from here.
Okay.
I had a dental exam right before I came here. In April, I had it. And then I also got checked out with blood work before I came here. So probably in the next 3 or 4 months, I'm going to look into getting health insurance and dental if they have it. I don't know if they even have dental, but yeah.
Okay. Okay. Um, so do you have a wow moment? Is there ever a time that you stop and you look around and you go, holy shit, this is awesome that I live in Peru. This is cool.
I've had several of those when I look at, when I tell people how much I'm spending. Okay, the Airbnb, I can go ahead and tell you, it comes out to less than, it's based on day by day because it's Airbnb, less than $1,200 a month. But I'm living in an upscale area, and people are telling me to get an apartment instead of Airbnb, it's going to be closer to like this would be like $800 US a month. And then I'd have to pay for electricity, gas, other things like that, but it would still stay under 1,000 a month. I got a special deal because I did it for a whole year here. But the wow moment is I'm able to live off of my pension from the Army and live quite well here and take my girlfriend out, buy her gifts, buy friends gifts, and still I'm saving money and still investing from a future. Uh, I'm picturing myself eventually probably moving back to the United States, probably in South Texas, getting a house. I'm picturing a Ford F-150 limited edition, a dog, Ram 1500, something like that. But I mean, that could change. I could decide to go to Spain and another place. I want to take advantage of the Spanish speaking thing. Like I said, I've never seen Nicaragua. Maybe that'll be on my list. Uh, I've
Yeah.
seen Costa Rica. I was there for a week before, and then also I was on a cruise and just stopped there for a day. Panama is another great place for retirement because they have a VA there.
Okay.
So you're in that country, you just go in for all your medical dental stuff there, right to the VA, and I think it's a little bit. I don't know if it's more expensive than here or not. I better not say. I don't know.
Okay. All right, man. So let's give me a plug, man. If somebody give me a plug. Let's talk about the book. The book is what you want to promote, right?
It is.
All right. So tell me about the book. Let's plug the book really quick. You've written this book. It's a nonfiction book. Give us a quick brief on it.
Oh no, it is a fiction book.
I'm
It's a
sorry, it's a
fiction.
fiction. I'm so sorry. My
It's all right.
apologies.
That's all right.
Speaking quickly, it's a fiction book. So tell us about the book. Tell us about the work you've put into it, how it keeps you busy. Give us a little bit about the book.
It's a book, Trapped in Deception. It has to do with there's a person in the book who's extremely based on a real person, real extremely manipulative, a Sean Larson, and he works at a bank in Dallas well in Dallas, Texas specifically. He robs the bank, white collar crime, doesn't hold anybody up at gunpoint. Uh, he fakes his own death. It's found out later he's done this before. He escapes, goes down to Peru, spends the night in Miraflores, where I'm at here, and then goes to Huancayo. So they are able to figure out he's down there, but the bank is illegally gambling with the money that he has stolen. He's stolen money, 5 million that he sent to bank accounts all over the world. The bank wasn't tampering with that money, but he also stole $5 million in cryptocurrency. And he has stolen the key for the cryptocurrency because that's how you steal cryptocurrency. And the key is on a 4 terabyte hard drive. This is books taking place in 2014 and 2015. It starts out in December of 2014. And so they send down a former friend to go get this person, which this friend is based on me. And the person's non-athletic. He's a computer genius, which I'm not. And so I had to do a lot of research on this. I had to do research with people who are computer geniuses, and they send him for training for a contractor, Silent Wolf contractors, and they want to get him really good. This person, by the way, is in the Army Reserves. He's an intelligence officer, works for an airlines as a civilian job. He was in Afghanistan, as I was. He had an accidental discharge, which I did not, and he killed a Taliban commander that they'd been hunting, and he did this with a 9mm Beretta 92F pistol, which has an effective range of something like 50 meters. He killed the guy at like twice the effective range, but he did it by accident because the bullet. But everybody thinks he's a hero. He got a Bronze Star for it. So now he has to go down to Peru and do some real stuff, and he's going down there to get the key back and also to bring the Sean to justice. And the contractors are down there, and it involves mercenaries who have been hired. And most of the action takes place in a church in Huancayo, Peru, a church that I've been to, that I based it on, that I did research on and drew sketches. And the character arcs have to do with the person coming to in touch with this Sean Larson character, who is a former friend of his, who greatly did him wrong, and they have to bring him back to justice to the United States. And it's going to be out in December, and
December.
then I'm going to do my own audiobook, and that's going to come out in March.
So can you give us at the end of this interview, I'm hoping you got to send me over your information. I'll put it into the comment section so our guests can look and find you and hopefully reach out and buy your book. Cool?
Yes, I'll do that.
Awesome, man. I'll put your information in the comments so people can get you.
All right.
Um, So, man, Ken, thank you so much for sharing your
Was
experiences
that
with
good?
me. Yeah, oh, dude, it was awesome. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate you. I wish you nothing but good vibes. Thanks for talking to us, man. And yeah, I'll put your information into the comment section so people can hopefully buy your book. All right. Thank you,
All
man.
right.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Wow, Ken, man, that was awesome. Thank you so much, man. I wish you nothing but positivity. I really hope the book takes off for you, brother. For my listener at home, if there's any questions that you want me to ask my future guests, just put it in the comments section. Give me a like and subscribe, and I hope to see you in 2 weeks.